television in tribute to Rob. We're underway, round 14. We passed the halfway mark in the 2024 Betfred Super League season. Things are beginning to take shape, but as we know, it is so tight at the top, no one dare lose a game at the moment, in case they begin to lose a little bit of a footing on the climb up that ladder up the table. But Salford here looking to implant their impression on the top six. Warrington here with slightly higher aspirations of top spot still up for grabs, very much for them as the season rolls on. Warrington with the initial touch of the ball as well. Here's Duffy, one of those who will admit, I'm sure, of a disappointing afternoon in the sunshine of Wembley last week, and a kick downfield eventually from Stefan Ratchford, which the caretaker fullback, if you like, Chris Hankinson, will take. Ryan Briley, one of the missing for Salford here tonight. Yeah, and while they miss Ryan Briley, I think Chris Hankinson has done very well in the couple of games that Ryan's been missing in that position. Very efficient defensive first set of six for the Salford Red Devils as well. Look, these are no easy beats. You know, Warrington are the star-studded side, but the Red Devils, they've already knocked off Saints, Hull Kingston Rovers, and of course Warrington Wolves already this season. This will be some challenge for the Wolves. Let's get some early news from Jenna, who's down on the touchline.
Yeah, Dave, just speaking to Sam ahead of this game. Obviously, they're missing a number of players after Wembley. George Williams, the biggest absentee, well, he has a slight calf issue. Sam said it's more precautionary that he misses out tonight, so likely to be back next week. Josh Thulis, a shoulder issue. Also, he doesn't expect him to be out for too long. You've also got Lockie Fitzgibbon and Jordan Crowther missing. They are a little bit more serious. They are likely to be back after the international break, which is the week after next. Yeah, Holloway
is the next game for Warrington after this, by the way, and then Huddersfield at home and Leeds at home, and then it ramps up, with all due respect to those clubs. St Helens away and Wigan away. The last two games in July for Warrington. They have possession at the moment in the shape of Toby King. Walker out of dummy half. Vaughan was there to take the pass if required, but Walker's quite happy to take them on himself. Onto this last play, Ratchford with that kick away, and Hankinson backing back and safely patched again. And testing that Warrington line. Warrington, as we heard there from Jenna, missing some stars, but I mean Salford as well. Ryan Briley, Matty Foster, Kate Cust, Aaron Burrow, all missing. Aaron Burrow missing as well. So who suffers the most, John?
Yeah, well, look, I think Salford's resources are that bit fewer than the Warrington Wolves. I think Ryan Briley, notwithstanding what I just said about Chris Hankinson, is a key attacking weapon for them, and he will be sorely missed. But the Red Devils, I think Paul Rowley said something really interesting, just talking about the response that he is expecting from the Warrington Wolves, and his answer to that was, well, at the first 10 or 15 minutes for us is key, and judging on the first couple of sets, I think they've been really efficient.
Into dummy half goes Joe Mellor, skipping it away for the boot of Sneed, who sends that ball high. It spins end over end, and Duffy's very confident underneath that, quickly moving into catching position. And despite the stumble, never really looked like not catching that. It was very solid.
He hasn't caught one properly with his boot yet, Mark Sneed, but when he does, I'll tell you what, look out that back three.
We'll try with that take. And here comes Matty Ashton looking to nibble a few extra yards as Warrington find themselves in their opponent's half of play, with still a couple of plays to go as well here. Holroyd up to his feet. Walker looking inside. Vaughan again is there. This time does get the pass. And again, meters gained. Not many, but a little bit of a platform from the back of which Warrington can work here. Drinkwater with the chip. Hankinson's in good position there. Knew where it was going, but couldn't stop that from happening. He's offloaded, and Ethan Ryan can clear the line. So a little bit of a gamble, a toss of the coin by Salford, but they have got the right result.
Yeah, brave stuff. And Barry McDermott mentioned this pitch side before the game. This is a side that will play from anywhere, including facing and running back towards their own in goal.
Salford fans in good numbers and good voice. It's something we expect these days. They do provide a great atmosphere wherever they travel, and they'll keep that going throughout the game as they look to prosper here. This is an opportunity for Ryan, who's got a bit of space and pace as well, but Drinkwater's across to close things down. But a good clearing run from Salford, and an opportunity to build on the back of that. Mellor spins it out to Sneed. Here is Stone, and an offload as well, and good support from MacDonald, who sizes up the fullback Dufty, and he beats him, and he scores the game's opening try. What a strike from Salford. Typically, it started at one end and it finished at the other in flamboyant style.
Yeah, we've been saying this team will play and can play, crucially, from anywhere on the field. It's all right wanting to throw it around. It's another thing being able to execute it. This is not something that the Red Devils have been trying for the last couple of weeks. This is well and truly part of their DNA. They will play from anywhere at any time, and the opposition just have to be ready. The shift comes off the back of this, goes through a couple of hands, gets to Sneed. Stone straightens the ball up and then rides a tackle well from Curry and gets the right arm free for Nene MacDonald, who has been a menace for Super League opposition since he joined from the Leeds Rhinos last season. He opens the scoring and there's no surprise, and Sam Burgess will be ruined, not being a little bit more alert, a little bit wise to what Salford are capable of doing.
Well, it could have ended up with a dropout underneath their sticks, but it ends up at the other end with Sneed with a conversion underneath their sticks. So they rode a little bit of luck, but they're very good at, on the back of that kind of thing, turning on the style.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, you know, even as Mark Sneed knocks over the extras, even as Tim Laffey was crabbing across the field, I mean, he's terrorised defences as well. Massive amount of tackle busts. You know, you could see the threat starting to present itself. That's a lovely late offload to Nene MacDonald. And then is there a more fearsome sight in the backfield than this man marauding his way towards the line for the opening score for the visitors?
Well, they came in good voice, and they've got reason to celebrate now, those Salford fans, who are characterised as a team of the unwanted. The players that nobody else want, but I tell you what, there'll be some envious eyes glancing at the likes of MacDonald and Sneed. There's some superstars in that Salford side.
Yeah, you're right. The characterising, the misfits, the offcasts. And Paul Rowley has encouraged that group of people to revel in those tags. And this is a team. This is a real team that can pose genuine threats to anyone.
And if there was a case of just a little lack of confidence in that Salford side, well, that has been erased very quickly. And they battle here on very equal terms. Mellor at dummy half again, picking up from Wright, who's playing in that front row. MacDonald can't find a way through this time, and it's Laffey over on that left-hand side.
You notice there's 4 Warrington defenders. That's game plan. I'll tell you what, Tim Laffey is over 100 tackle busts so far this season. Top of Super League. He'd be marked up by everybody who plays against him. Double marked, in fact.
Couple of games elsewhere tonight, of course. Keeping our eyes on those. Huddersfield with an early lead against Hull Kingston Rovers. And Wigan with an early lead against Castleford. They've been parting hard for about 48 hours after their cup win of Wigan by all accounts, but they'll have their heads back on right now in pursuit of another piece of silverware. 4 in a row at the moment.
Yeah, this is something Warrington are going to have to get used to doing, because it doesn't matter how much energy they put into the first 5 tackles and restricting Salford's metres. The range that Mark Sneed's got from his boot means invariably this is where Warrington are going to start sets from for the majority of this game.
2 defeats on the bats for the first time under Sam Burgess in the league against Wigan and the cup against Wigan, so they want to put that right. And here's Walker looking back on his inside for Dufty. Travels inside Salford territory again, but they're on to the last tackle again. So Drinkwater chips it high. Hankinson travelling a few yards to get there, and he in turn is hunted down by Tony King. So Salford start 12 out, and a few of their players yet to get back behind the play the ball as well here, just conserving a bit of energy in these early stages. Across goes Atkin, using a little zip and flash in the early stages here, rather than employing the big fellas who are still getting their breath back. Sneed going left. Push again. Here's Mellor having a look around. He's got time to look around because good defensive effort keeping Laffey down, and Warrington's effort stepping up again there. There was no way to go for Shane Wright. They came quickly off the line and closed him down, so they're attacking here. Dufty. A stoop and a catch, and tries to squeeze between the two. Can't find a route.
Yeah, another one Mark Sneed's not quite got hold of properly. He'll persist with that, because when he does, that ball will move an awful lot. And you've got players playing out of position. Roderick Ty on the right wing, unaccustomed, certainly in Super League, to that position. We normally see him as a centre.
There's Drinkwater, testing the line. Finding MacDonald there to meet and greet. And Brad Singleton as well.
Yeah, a little bit of a miscommunication there, I think, with Adam Holroyd and Josh Drinkwater, who wanted a different line from his back rower.
There's Walker. Here's Drinkwater. I think it's going to be lofted here from Ratchford. Up it goes. Hankinson again anticipating exactly where the kick was going. But a good chase from Toby King, so Salford put right back on their heels here. Can Warrington step it up in intensity in defence in this next 4 tackles?
Yeah, we saw a lot of this throughout the final, the Challenge Cup final last week. Warrington persisting with the tactic there, penning Salford back in with that box kick from Josh Drinkwater, and it's working for them so far. Now here's Nene MacDonald. Nene MacDonald, I've seen him a couple of times now. He's actually moved over from the right centre, and he's doubling up, isn't he, with Tim Laffey?
It's something Salford do a lot of.
Yeah.
You very often see the 2 centres on the same side of the field as Mellor makes a half break. And Hankinson's up there at dummy half. Singleton gets rid of it because he doesn't want to kick it. This fella does. Sneed with a big boot, hoping to find a bounce. He's found a bounce. And Dufty, I think, is hoping, and it will go dead, so they do get the tap back on the 20. 7 tackles to play with as well here.
Yeah, it's the first one he's overcooked, Mark Sneed. It looks, as I take a closer look at it, he's looking to try and get, rather than a spiral bomb, which we normally talk about, he's looking to put up the old-fashioned floater. They move, but in a different way to the spiral bombs. You know, equally as difficult, equally as challenging for the back 3 of Warrington, but it was a calculated gamble, wasn't it, by Matt Dufty, and they get the benefit of an extra tackle.
Well, Walker's done well here. King's played the ball, gave him an opportunity. There was a bit of broken defensive, a little bit of switching off in defence behind that, so King's able to prosper at the second time of asking. Walker was looking for a penalty there with a man on the floor, but the referee says play on, interception, and this is Laffey this time, who has plenty of pace, but the chasers are after him. Laffey's looking round for seeing who's there, because he doesn't feel he can beat them all, or can he? Well, he circles around.
Ball's just got to go left, they'll walk in. Ball's got to be spread left, and that's what Sneed's calling for. He doesn't get it.
Here it comes now. Sneed hurls it left. This is Stone. Dufty wraps him up, pinches the ball. Referee says 2 men in the tackle.
Well,
I think one fell off, and I think that's what's fooled Dufty there.
Look, they'll get a penalty and another crack at this, but they've just bombed the try, because when Laffey was tackled, Roderick Ty had almost come in, the right winger for the Warrington Wolves, to the posts. They had a three-man overlap and 30 metres to work in. Now they're going to settle for 2. This is the intercept. It's just a wild pass, isn't it, from Ben Curry? And Tim Laffey pins the ears back, but he can feel Conor Wrench and see Ben Curry. But it's as Laffey was tackled here, there was acres of space off shot to the left-hand side of your screen. Joe Mellor should have sent it straight to Mark Sneed, and they would have walked in.
So Mark Sneed, as is often his wont, taking a lot of time. He's not the quickest, is it, Mark Sneed? He milks every moment here. But when you've got a kick success like he has, not just tonight, my goodness,
No,
what 100% tonight, but 90-odd%.
It's 92 it stands as we came into round 14. Maybe we might get to talk a little bit more about kick accuracy a little later, because I think we're seeing 2 of the best exponents in the league, aren't we, at the moment, in Ratchford and Sneed.
Mark Sneed's missed 4 out of 48 so far this season. I think that might be his 50th goal this season, and he's only missed about 4 of them. So 8 points to 0.
So yeah, so they do move 2 points further in front, but really it should have been 2 tries to 0 with the conversion to come. Look at the space space they had there. I mean, it did eventually come the second time round, but by that time Warrington had a chance to spread and then try and absorb the Salford defence. If they'd have gone first time, blimey, they would have walked, and you could have picked 2 or 3 players who would have gone over for a try, and that may be a frustration, notwithstanding the extra 2 points for Paul Rowley.
So a long-range try and a penalty is the difference between these two. Just assess Warrington's start to this game, John. I mean, on the back of what happened last week, how do you rate how they've started so far?
Sluggish. But again, I think I put that down to Salford, that clearly the fresher side, that much is evident, and I think they needed to really show the Warrington Wolves that this was going to be no let-up now. From the disappointment following Wembley, you're now going to face a side that is more than capable of providing opposition and points, and that's exactly what they're doing.
Oh, they're over there again, and Cross is the man who's found a bit of width now. He's got Sneed. Oh, the dummy sent Dufty diving into the wrong time zone, and Cross is over to score. 2 tries of scintillating quality from the Red Devils, and no wonder they're reaching for the air in delight, because at the moment it is looking very rosy for the Reds.
Well, I'll tell you what, they are brilliant to watch, aren't they? The Salford Red Devils at their best. When they are on, they are very, very dangerous. Dion Cross finishes. I'll tell you what, there's some really good decision-making on the fly here as well. Tim Laffey provides a brilliant pass to get on the outside of Roderick Ty. Dion Cross in the clear, but this is fantastic. Sneed in support, but Dion Cross, he weighs it up in a nanosecond. He can't afford to pass back in because Josh Drinkwater is chasing back and would have cut Mark Sneed down. So a little drop of the hips and a dummy, a change, and away he goes. He strips Matt Dufty on the outside, and wow, what a start for the visitors.
Well, incredible, absolutely incredible. And look where it starts from again, very, very deep. And a bit of pace from a young fellow who was scintillating as a centre just a couple of years ago, but he's now making his mark as a winger, Dion Cross.
No, it's a brilliant finish. You know, think about the players that he's kept out of the team as well. Now, not the finished article yet, but certainly I think one of the fast improving players in Super League. Now, Mark Sneed, we talked about place kicking before, didn't we, and the accuracy of these guys. I don't think it always gets the attention it deserves in our sport. It remains a significant tool in a team's arsenal in applying scoreboard pressure. So in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen, you'll see the product of a bit of work between Sky Sports in collaboration with our friends at Stats Perform, who've created a new and improved kick predictor. Now, they've collated individual kicking data and harnessed the power of AI to model a kicker's chances of success at goal, depending on their strike rate, in the case of Mark Sneed, very good, the position on the field, the scoreline, and the time of the game.
There's a 77% likelihood to kick this. Oh, well, nobody put the post into that equation, and he's hit it. 2 out of 3. 12-0 they lead.
Well, I'll tell you what, it doesn't take away from the brilliance of this try, though, and I think they've targeted that right edge, because Roderick Ty, as we said, is playing out of position. Dion Cross is certainly not. I think there's an awful lot going on between the ears of Dion Cross there. He's summed up the picture in half a second, and then he's done Matt Dufty on the outside. And I'll tell you what, it is a commanding lead, that, because the Warrington Wolves aren't offering much at the moment.
12-0, 17 and a half minutes played. It's been a while since Warrington had meaningful possession in promising position. They need this ball back, but just at the moment, Salford are dominating. And that scoreboard reflects their quality so far in this game. Here's Singleton with a carry. You forget how long Brad Singleton's been about, don't you? He's 31 now, Brad. So some of the pictures of him in some of the Leeds celebrations when we had that wonderful tribute to Rob Burrow.
Yeah, I've seen him celebrating grand final wins in the past. He's been a real stalwart, hasn't he, in Super League?
Last tackle. So where he is, here he is. Sneed again with a kick. Again, it's end under end. Dufty safely patches, but a right foot back, tentatively hoping he could be back in the in-goal area, but he wasn't. but it's a decent carry back to just within sight of that 20-metre line.
Yeah, it's all measured though, is this. Mark Smeader just shortened up the kick, and Salford have presented a good defensive line, solid connected defensive line. They're working hard in the tackle as well to restrict metres from Warrington.
Little dancing steps from Connor Wrench. Walker at dummy half. Salford quickly bursting forward off the line. Harrison's on the field with a heavy carry. They're going to kick early. They're looking for a 40-20 here. It's a smart ploy from Walker, but he didn't quite get the angles and the distance, and Hankinson welcome to the game from Paul Vaughan. Here's MacDonald. Hampkin eager and ready. Watkins will go searching down this right-hand side. Sneed again back in position here with a carry up to the line, and then the little soft pass to Wright. Shane Wright backing in. 2 plays to go in this set. Huddersfield extending that lead 6-0 at Hull KR, as you can see. Sneed again now. Here's Hankinson trying to step back on the inside, so they'll get a last play within 30 metres of their opponent's line. Sneed puts it up in the air. Chases on, Duffy's favourite, and he's done well.
Yeah, it's a good kick chase though. Yeah, left nowhere to move. Ollie Partington had shut Matt Duffy down on the catch. I think they've been really efficient. You know, we've seen a bit of flair from Salford, haven't we? But I think, look, all around that, the decisions they're making at dummy half as well, the short side with Callum Watkins in the last set, isolating Josh Drinkwater, just everything efficient. And Paul Rowley will be very, very pleased with the start to the game.
You can see what's to come over the weekend here on Sky Sports with the Rugby League, the NRL and the Super League as well. Direct you especially towards that Hull Leeds game tomorrow, 2:30. London Saints, that's an interesting game at the Stoop, isn't it, on Sunday afternoon? Moving it away from the Cherry Reds Record Stadium, just for that one game. Hankinson will take it on the bounce. Warrington's line is very good, very efficient in getting up there. Here's Ryan. Ethan Ryan. Cross helping out with the heavy duty work from deep inside his own half.
That's another thing they do well, isn't it? Because of the athleticism of the back three, the back five, in fact, they can do that, and that spells the forwards, keeps them fresh in the middle.
Miller up and plays. This is Lachlan Lewis, who's making his debut, of course, the ex-Canberra player, 21 years of age, recent signing. I say ex-Canberra, he's not played in the NRL, he was playing in the New South Wales Cup back in Australia. Ratchford putting it inside for the effort of Matty Ashton. Here's Ratchford again at dummy half, trying to get things moving forward here for Warrington, trying to build a bit of momentum, albeit inside their own half. And Walker again is looking for a 40-20, but this time it's the angle that's wrong.
That's a much better kick though, and it's pinned MacDonald back in his own 10, that 10-by-10 square that everybody talks about. Warrington will now shorten up this defensive line. Could this be a defensive set that changes the momentum of this game?
Well, let's get that right. That was the right centre who got back in that left centre's position deep to make sure that he got that ball. It's bounced off a Warrington player and has been played out, and Watkins dances through and gets it away to Ethan Ryan, who's got Sneed in support, and Mark Sneed will race away. It's another long-distance glory run for the Salford Red Devils, and the moment they're looking unstoppable. Sneed the latest, and Salford are shooting to a very healthy lead.
Well, I'll tell you the most impressive part of that, not just the old legs there getting to the try line, but Callum Watkins, having seen the referee has wiped the tackle count clean and they had 6 more plays, was still prepared to throw an offload to a supporting player in the shape of Ethan Ryan. I think that confidence, that willingness to play is brilliant. Take a look at this. The ball gets caught in the tackle from Toby King, back to 6. Watkins, look, if it's on, it's on, and he'll play it, plays it really well. Ethan Ryan draws Matt Duffy and then Mark Sneed underneath the sticks, and surely he'll add the extra 2 for this. But there's some really, really smart, considered play in the build-up to this. And chief amongst that is that decision from Callum Watkins. It is 0 tackle. They have got a full set of 6, but if you don't need them, you don't need them. Brilliant work, excellent start, and this has been an awful lot more one-sided than I thought. Warrington fans look on, they're seeing a flat Warrington side, lacking in a bit of confidence, I feel.
They're being ripped apart here, aren't they? Absolutely ripped apart. And Sneed settles for what should be a gimme right in front of the sticks. I was reminded a little earlier, John, that Salford fans celebrating that this time last year Warrington were top of the table.
Yeah.
And the wheels fell off, as we know, after that. And Sneed pops it over to make it 18-0. What have you seen that's different this year about Warrington? Not on the evidence of what we're watching tonight, but generally speaking.
If you park what we've seen for the first 24, 25 minutes, which I think is, clearly a flat side coming off the back of an under-par performance in a massive event in a Challenge Cup final, but also I think because Salford have done very well. I think the difference between the Sam Burgess iteration of Warrington and what we saw last year under Darryl Powell is, I think the defence has been an awful lot meaner, and that's borne out in the statistics as well. Points against stand at 170 this season, coming into round 14, as opposed to 199 from last year. Making changes in defence to reduce the amount of points conceded is the toughest job. Your attack is one thing, and scoring more points is one thing. Tightening up defence, I think there's an awful lot of work gone into that, and that's where they do look better. Not the evidence of what we've seen so far, of course.
Well, here's a reminder of the quality in that Salford side. This is the Man of Steel leaderboard going into round 14. Mark Sneed top, Nenny MacDonald not far behind.
Yeah, he's had a brilliant season, hasn't he? And he had a brilliant 2023, but he's currently top of Salford tables for try assists, and he's involved in there as well for line break assists. An awful lot of the attacking flair comes through Mark Sneed, that organisational hub for Salford.
It's a good carry there from Hankinson as a full-back, wasn't it, to take it through, and that's an awkward bounce that needs dealing with, and Ashton has dealt with it and needed to. Warrington have it back, but in slightly shaky circumstances, and having to build from deep again here. And we're at the stage now where you think they probably have to score next year.
Yeah, they smell blood to Salford, don't they? And they are not going to take the foot off the throat. Warrington need a spark from somewhere, don't they? But this looks like a flat Warrington side. Perhaps lacking a little bit of energy. Maybe it's that sort of thing that's going to spark something.
Only takes a moment, and it only takes a flash of pace. And that was not high, according to the referee. There were howls of derision. But the tackle was fair and square on Matty Ashton.
Nice. No, nothing wrong with that.
There's Drinkwater with a kick. Hankinson again has covered some distance. He's got a cross out there as well for company, but seems the best route is to take it on. There's claims, it's not a good look, is it, when players put their arms out in the air, but claims there that the legs have gone through the perpendicular. Again, the referee says, just get on with it. And Salford again moving closer to their opponent's half, but it's almost a disadvantage being in their half. They prefer being in their own half. That's where their tries come from. This is Nella. Goes left to Sneed, who carries instead of kicking, and Hankinson's there, and if the pass had been better for Cross, there was an opportunity building, but he's just accepting there, the fullback, that was not a very good pass at all.
Is that the first error in possession from Salford? In nearly half an hour of football, it's been a really accomplished performance. Chris Hankinson's strength is not his passing game, it's his running game, and they do lack a little bit of that creativity from the one position, the absence of Ryan Briley, but in general terms, I think they're making light of it at the moment, aren't they?
So, Warrington's toughness under pressure has been questioned often enough in previous years. Here's a chance to rewrite that reputation tonight, trailing as they do, 18 points to nil. Can they dig themselves back in the game? That's looped over the top to Ashton. There's 3 Salford defenders looming in to close him down. And Atkins, the man who gets round his ankles to pull him down, but Warrington now in decent position again here. What can they make of this as Curry straightens it up? Walker dancing right. Matchford puts it back on the inside, but Bullock's wrapped up the moment he gets the ball. 1 play to go for Warrington. 15 metres out. What trickery have they got? Well, they haven't got any trickery. It's a mistake, a handling error that gives Salford back possession.
And if Joe Bullock could have his time again, that's the first opportunity the Warrington Wolves have had inside the red zone of their opposition, and it's not played correctly.
It's a merest bobble, but that's all it takes. And from the bench today, Joe Bullock. Sam Burgess will be not happy with what he's watching at the moment. And that's an understatement. After 2 back-to-back defeats, as we've said many times, they were looking for a response. At the moment, they're not getting it with half an hour played.
And that's the thing. I mean, they do look laboured, and there's clearly an element of fatigue there. But that's the sort of thing you should embrace if you're a good enough side and privileged enough to be taking part in a Challenge Cup final. You've got to deal with this side of it as well. And just take a look at the meters in particular that Salford have made. And a lot of those, as you say, Dave, have been from the backfield moves like this that end up pulling apart 3/4 zones.
Very nearly 100 metres for each of the tries so far, haven't they? In terms of start to finish. There's Partington, good offload. Still 4, the referee shouted. Now they move it wide. It's out to Cross, missing out the middlemen, but Cross had to dive for that, which the Warrington fans felt was a clue that it might have been forward, but the referee says that's not. And Sneed off the outside of his boot. And Dufty will not take the gamble. He'll take the ball for a restart instead.
Yeah, it's been unorthodox, hasn't it, from Mark Sneed? We've lauded his kicking game, and he genuinely is one of the best in the league, both out of hand and from the tee. It has been an orthodox banana kick, and that's aimed to go out of play, maybe give his side that extra 20 seconds break. And he's found a pocket, found a corner, and Matt Dufty not massively interested in trying to take that one.
Watching the late great Shane Warne bowling, isn't it, when Mark Sneed kicks? You're never quite sure where the ball's going when it bounces. There's King. There's Walker. Trying to make things happen, but from very deep inside their own half here. Nicholson dealt with and put down. Curry offers it back on the inside for Bullock to have a drive.
You know when Warrington are playing well because they're playing over the advantage line, that's something I think they put an awful lot of focus on in the first 8-9 games of the season. We've seen that drop off a little bit. They're not generating the same sort of impact around the ruck area and advancing into those soft spots behind the ruck.
Drinkwater, again, it's kind of a reserved conservative with a small C kick again at the end of a set. It's looking to pin the side in the opposition end as much as they can rather than produce anything attacking on the back of it.
They don't really have much other options, do they, from that point in the field? It's, I says, it's been a very efficient display from Salford in defence, coupled with a very elaborate and very daring attitude in attack.
Taken in by Wright. Couple of plays to go. It's Sneed back on the inside. They were searching for Nenny MacDonald to see if he could find the Warrington inside defence a little off guard, but they didn't. Mellor out to Sneed. Sneed puts it high again. The chase is on again. Dufty underneath it, looks to drift away from the defenders that are coming towards him, and he's found a little bit of a pocket to explode into and give Warrington a bit of a clearance. Matchford and now tie. A lot of distance to cover again. 7 and a bit minutes of the half remaining. Warrington desperate to get something on the ball.
That's a better carry though. Just inject a little bit of pace. And now across the advantage line.
Powell's on the field. Here's Dufty. One play to go. So Powell searches right. Ratchford's there. Former Salford player, of course, back in the day. Stefan Ratchford rolls it out of play. Salford have it back. But only 10 from their own line.
Yeah, it's not a bad kick. Look, you know, they're not threatening the Salford try line, but at least they're putting in the right area of the field. And look at the amount of carries that the Salford Red Devils have made. I mean, they've had the bulk of possession, but 87 carries against 58. 17 sets completed against 10. I mean, the Salford Red Devils are completing at a 94% clip. I mean, that's really impressive.
There's a bending of the back and a hit from Holroyd. Just letting Salford know that Warrington fancy they're still in this game. Missing some star players. I mean, the headlines, Williams and Thewlis, but put those two in this side, they're not going to make any difference, are they?
Lachlan Fitzgibbon, I think, is a big loss as well. He's been exceptional since he's come across.
Straightened up by Wright.
Yeah, late offload from Nenny McDonald. Shorrocks gets to explore, as does Lafay here down the short side. Another tackle bust.
Lafay's pushing off all comers there. Eventually has to succumb. One play to go. Shorrocks just dictating matters, but we'll have to wait a while here before this ball can be played. Referee says hand it over as Partington rolls away. Sneed puts it up in the air again. Just high. There's chases on here, and Ty's done well to get there. Salford players coming from all directions, but Ty made absolutely sure, and Warrington start again from this position.
What shot.
5 to go before the break. Warrington rendered scoreless here.
I tell you, there's no wasted energy at all with Salford. Everything, the timing in attack's been brilliant. The timing in defence has been, we've just seen Ollie Partington knock a double up there, and offload, yeah, it's not a mistake, it's a play on.
Yeah, King's done well. He was looking for that offload. It was a little untidy, but it has given Warrington a bit of an advantage. A little bit of a lift. What can they do on the back of it? Powell wants to play the ball quicker. He's urging the referee. Now it's Dufty trying to thread himself a hole that wasn't there. So has to play it himself now. Powell again, back it comes. Drinkwater, again it's a long kick that is just trying to put Salford back on their heels, but Hankinson will bring it back to the 25-metre point.
Yeah, just to expand on the point, I think Salford have been really, really good, both sides of the ball. Defensively giving nothing away. Attack, as I said, look at that pinpoint stuff, right between two defenders, leaving players on the floor, playing off the back of it, playing into the soft spots behind the ruck, and these are easy meters.
That's 15 made easily, wasn't it? Cass Wigan all square at 4-4. Well, here's a step from MacDonald. And again, they've covered so much distance again here in this set, Salford. At the end of it, they're in an attacking position. Wright takes it in. Now it comes left, back to Sneed. Sneed foiling on the inside, throws it out to Cross. Cross has to hold his line. Went back behind him and then takes the tackle and hands the ball over. But again, Warrington's defence, you know, where that started in terms of Salford deep inside their own half and finishing in that attacking position.
Yeah.
We've not seen that much the other way.
No, I mean, look, they've had no choice but to be passive because they're getting beaten at the ruck because of really smart plays to start the sets. Dion Cross started that last set in possession and just got himself right in the perfect position to side through two Warrington defenders. And that's why they end up, again, starting set from deep inside their own 20.
Do they need a cuter kicking game at the end of the sets?
I don't think Josh Drinkwater has an awful lot of options. He's kicking off the back foot. The back three for Salford are covering an awful lot of space. Hankinson's judging it well. You know, other than Walker from dummy half, they don't really have another kicking option. Steph Ratchford hasn't been.
Ratchford puts it over the top. Maybe they can do it through hand here. This is King, and he will put a little kick in, and the chase is on, but Lyons just held his line there. There's a bit of a wrestle going on as to who got there first, but Ryan showed some real strength.
Yeah, it was great work. It was smart as well. Cute from Ethan Ryan. Put his body between Toby King and the ball. You know, the awkward bounces sometimes, you never know when they're going to pop up again.
Dudson. Shorrocks stands and waits and delivers left again, and this is Laffey with a hop and a skip and a tantalising look at that Warrington line, but they embrace him and make sure he's stopped. One play to go. Inside their own half this time. Sneed kick, dragging it towards the corner. That's just a superb kick again, because it has put Warrington in that difficult position. But Tide as well, rapidly getting out of there.
And look, for as good as Mark Sneed's kicking game is, every single one of those Red Devils players, that they know what they've got. They know who's punching the ball downfield. He can put it on a sixpence, and their chase is impeccable as well. Really consistent.
Going a bit wide here, Drinkwater. Can't get any wider because Salford defenders quickly up in his face. Into the final minute here of this opening half. Curry with a short pass. Harrison can't keep hold of it when it comes his way. And Salford are going to finish the half with ball in hand and with an attacking point of view. This is Laffey. Salford organising themselves again here. Will they have time for 3 or 4 plays? Dudson drives it in. What price? A Sneed drop goal at the end of this. Here's Shorrocks, straightened up again by Logan Lewis. Well, they're in range, they're in Sneed range. Comes left, it is going to be a drop goal attempt, and it has, the referee's not sure, it's gone over. It's the extra point, 19-0.
And with that drop goal, Mark Sneed, as the half-time hooter sounds, has dropped his 50th, that's 5-0 Super League drop goal. It isn't the prettiest to look at, is it? But they're all worth the same. A 19-0 half-time lead, a scoreless first 40 minutes for Sam Burgess's Warrington Wolves.
Well, boos from the Warrington fans, but those in red are wearing big beams of delight because their side really have razzle-dazzled in that first half. It is Warrington 0, Salford 19.
Dave, John, thank you very much. Hangover from the cup final, Wembley woes, call it what you will. The Warrington Wolves are in a hole at half-time here in round 14 of the Betfred Super League with Nenny McDonald to the fore. The Red Devils have been absolutely sensational. Their coach Paul Rowley emphasised the start was all important. What a start they got. Off to a flyer. Analysis with Jamie Jones-Buchanan and Barry McDermott after this. Rowley's side, half-time team news from Jenna.
Yeah, speaking to Sam Burgess, he had one message for his players: do not panic. I said, are you still in this? He said, yes, we just need to respond, and we need to respond immediately. Paul Rowley said to him, pretty decent first half. He said, yes, we just need to repeat it. But let's go back to our commentators, Woodsy and Wellesley.
Thank you, Jenna. Well, it's not all over. You know, we know one score can make such a difference to the mood of a game, and if Warrington score it next, then that can change things. And this is an uncharacteristic defensive performance from Warrington on the basis of what we've seen before. Only twice this season have they conceded more points than they have today. They beat Hokkaido 22 points to 20, so conceding 20 points that day. The big one was the 32 points they conceded against Catalan. So that's something they need to smarten up straight away.
Yeah, and it's been passive, and at times it's been forced to be passive because of the way that Salford Red Devils have played. I think, you know, we can sit here and we can talk about the Warrington Wolves last week, last fortnight, and the effect it's had on them. But I think that doesn't give the credit that we should be giving to the visitors this evening, who brought game plan A and executed it to a T, as the guys at pitchside have summed up really well at half-time.
Warrington singing the blues, but the Red Devils are very happy at the moment. Remember, a win for them here tonight actually draws them level with Warrington in that league table, and only 2 points off top spot. But that is at the start of the Super League weekend. Things quickly change over the 6 games that are played, so But it is just an indication of what Salford. Everyone this year, I would suggest, would have maybe written Salford off. Weren't predicting they were going to be doing what they've done in the past, upset the odds and just make people look again. But they are doing that. They are the team that makes people look again, year after year. Here's Lafayette. Searching down this blind side again with MacDonald. Hankinson quickly motoring into dummy half position. Back to Sneed, and across the line it goes now. Atkin, a little bit of a dummy. Trying to dive through defenders' legs, but he's tackled. Last play, Sneed. Where's he kicking this time? Up in the air, and Dufty tracks it. Brings it down, brings it under control, and runs back at an organised Salford change. Which means he goes no further than that, and he's lost the ball. Salford have it back. Dufty will complain a steal, but the referee is adamant it was mishandled.
Yeah, and that's, you know, the attention given by Salford. I thought Warrington did well at the end of the set. Sam Powell applied a bit of pressure for the first time to Mark Sneed. That's just a loose carry by Matt Dufty. That's a correct decision. You know, and he'll have to rue that and dwell on that and stew on that for another minute while his side defends.
So straight away, Salford putting themselves in the driving seat at the start of this second half.
And they don't mind a trick play either.
Oh, he's loving it, isn't he? He's loving it, isn't he, the coach? He's enjoying the night so far, Paul Rowley, and quite rightly. Where they go here. Sneed again, drops it back, and Donald trying to find a way through, but play one sees them 12 metres away. Shorrock spends his back inside for Sneed, offering to the runners on the inside. Atkin now, they're coming with purpose, they're coming at speed, and Hankinson just pushes through. A tissue paper thin defence. The referee thinks there might be a reason for that. He says try, but possible obstruction. Maybe he couldn't believe his eyes as to how easy that was. Let's hear from the video referee.
Tackle one, live decision of a try. We're checking potential obstruction in the lead up, so just looking from camera 5, please, from the gantry. Nice and slow in the lead up. Yeah, run it through from here. Keep running it through. Nice and slow at this point. See Stones running through the line. Can we just play that again, please? Just looking at the actions of the lead runner, Stone. Okay, so slow from this point. Slow. So we're just looking at the actions of Stone, attempting to run through the line. Keep rolling it through from this point. Okay, if we can just go back, please, and play it again. So Stone, the lead runner, must run through the line. He must not make contact with the outside shoulder of the defender. If we just slow, nice and slow at this point, he makes contact with Ratchford's outside shoulder. Okay, we are in a try-scoring opportunity here. Just rolling it through. Keep rolling it through from this point. And we can see that Ratchford is denied an opportunity to slide across and defend the play. I've made my decision.
So it's going to be no try. It's going to be no try. We've heard that. I suppose the question is, did he make contact with Ratchford, or did Ratchford make contact with him?
Yeah, look, I think it's a harsh decision. This will get ruled out, but I think there was I think the defensive reads there were all wrong. I think Connor Wrench has come out of the line early on Chris Hankinson and completely missed his assignment. You know, Sam Stone, number 11, has blocked Steph Ratchford, but I think if Steph Ratchford has a clear run there, he still doesn't get it because there's a misread out the back here. You can see Connor Wrench has dived in far too early and left a gap on the outside for Hankinson to run into. You see Connor Wrench turning out late. Look, according to the letter of the law, Sam Stone has impeded Steph Ratchford. I'm not sure it would have made much difference to the outcome, but we play on.
Well, we talk about moments, turning points. Have we just seen one? Can Warrington pick up on the back of that, correct all that was wrong in that defensive effort and turn something on in attack, or do Salford simply put that to one side and keep rolling on the way they have been? Well, an opportunity for Warrington to probe here. King's pass on the line, and here's a bit of pace. Ashton. Salford quickly getting back there to cut things down. Ryan with a stopping tackle. Drinkwater. Powell throws it over the top. Nicholson knocked down. Obviously knocked forward by Dion Cross. So Warrington get another chance with the ball here.
Yeah, and he had to do it as well. You know, there's no penalties. There's no such thing as a deliberate knock-on, and no penalty given for that anyway. He's diffused a very dangerous situation, and his penalty for that is his side will have to defend another set of 6. It's the first time we've seen Warrington playing, by the way. You know, they've actually moved that ball really well. Drinkwater looking to play out the back a couple of times. There are green shoots for the Wolves, but they've got to tell you what, they've got a mountain to climb here, because it's all still, none of it's looking particularly connected at the moment.
Well, 6 plays to go. 25 metres out. What can they make of this? Duffy now. Little spring in his step and tries to squeeze through, and a good offload as well, but covering tackle coming in on King to make sure that he can't prosper. But Warrington with intent here. And Bullock trying to get the arm free, or is he just intent on trying to get to the line? He was, but Salford wrestling him down, and now we hear a roar, another set of 6 as well, a roar from the Warrington fans that we've not heard so far. Encouraging moments. Harrison stopped, Powell waits. Inside it's flicked again. Here's Curry trying to push his way through. Salford being tested in a way they haven't been tested so far tonight. Powell back to Ratchford. And nowhere to go. Nowhere. Salford just rounding him up and putting him down. Powell again, back to Curry. Harrison, well, the ball goes without him. Knocked on. He claims there was a Salford hand on that. Oh, hang on, the referee's willing to listen to the argument. It's a double check situation here.
It's tackle 3, live decision of a no try. We're just going to check the lead up, please, to view any potential touch by Salford. So just looking from behind the post, please. Just roll through from this point. Cue camera 8 next. So nice and slow at this point. So we just need to determine who touches the ball there at that point. Okay, slow here, match director. Nice and slow. Warrington's in possession. Okay, it's a pass.
Ooh.
So is there a touch by Salford first? We just go back, please. Okay, just play it on from this point. Nice and slow, frame by frame. Just keep rolling it through. Okay, there is a touch. We can see a change in shape of the ball. A touch by Salford first. Okay, rolling it through. The ball then appears to be knocked on by Harrison. We have a double knock on. I've made my decision.
Well, on this occasion, we have to congratulate the refereeing team for actually having a look for that, because they have found 2 knock-ons. Not going to be a try, of course, because it was Harrison who knocked on then in response to that, but it has given Warrington possession back again here.
Yeah, just a left arm, just made contact with Stone. And James Harrison ball, it's not quite where he expected him to. Look, this is a really important attacking set for the Warrington Wolves. They've now spent a couple of minutes down here. The last attacking set looked a little bit toothless.
What do they do here? There's a big push from the Salford pack to make sure that things are spoiled at the back. Warrington keep possession, but they've lost their opportunity for a scrum play there. But they're still in very good position. Harrison. Powell's having a look, 4 to his left, the rest to his right. It's left he goes, where Drinkwater's waiting as a pivot. Pops it over the top, but no real chance for Matty Ashton to make anything of that. The defence very quickly on him. This is Duffy skipping and spinning across and trying to create some space for Ty maybe, but in the end he runs out of space. Salford's defence marshalling that situation well. 3 plays to go. If Warrington are going to win this game, this might be the set when they have to score. Bullock.
Great defence from Salford.
Powell. Curry. Taking it up to the line. Feigning the pass. Taking it on. Desperately wanting an offload, but too many around him for that. This is Powell again, and this is the last play. This is Duffy who pops it over the top. There was a Salford hand on that, I think. Yep. So when Ty gets it and he's tackled, they get another set of 6.
Yeah, but Salford can defend this all day. It's not organised enough. Warrington are relying on individuals here to try and punch holes in the defence or try and use speed to get around the outside. I want to see these two halves working in tandem. Where's Ratford? Where's Drinkwater?
Well, this is where Williams is missed, isn't it? Especially when it comes to the last tackle play with a kick. But maybe Warrington can find a way through without him. Powell spins it left. Bullock's there looking for the muscular route, but met in kind. Still more to come. Powell, Drinkwater, Duffy, interception, and it could be try time at the other end of the field, although Lafay seemed to give up. But now, I think he was looking for support there, but Warrington's attack, blunt again, and simply gifting things back to Salford.
Yeah, just one-dimensional stuff. And they're looking for plays that aren't there. There's no organisation. Doesn't appear to there's any the thought about setting up on a particular area of the field to attack another area with good shape and good depth. And they've got what they deserve, Dave.
And Salford eating up the meters again here. Still a couple of plays to go. 30 metres out. Sneed and left again, and Shane Wright's going to be spun to the ground. Sneed wants it. Sneed gets it, and there's the kick. The flight is high. There's a bit of a wrestle going on. Was there obstruction there? Yes, there was. I was clear to see. Salford's chase is impeded, and they get a very easy penalty.
Yeah, it was such a good kick. Warrington Wolves just did not want anybody to get on the end of Sneed's bomb. And it's Nene McDonald here that's just moved off the ball by Toby King. He's not allowed a clear run to attack that. Yeah, it's moved off the line there as Toby King. It's a clear penalty.
It was never going to be anything else, was it? You know, it's...
But he's forced into that because it's such a good kick into such a good area, dangerous area of the field for Salford.
So they can take their time and set themselves up for an attacking opportunity. 6 plays that starts 15 metres out. Where can they find themselves finishing? Lewis on debut. Shorrocks, a dummy half. Sneed's waiting, left of centre. Again, just taking it into the heart of the Warrington defenders and looping the pass away for Hankinson. Shorrocks. Sneed again. And here's an effort that is just going to be denied, and it's a stone underneath all of that. Back to Sneed. Slides it in. It's being chased after, but Duffy just plucks it out of the air and now shows that pace. Salford quickly to react, but Warrington's turn now to react on the back of a gift, potentially.
Yeah, really good work. Very, very alert by Matt Duffy. We know Sneed's got that in his arsenal, that little snap grubber kick. He was alert to it, alive to it. I thought maybe there was an opportunity it could have passed to this man.
Well, they're motoring through the metres here. Play 3, they're 40 metres out. Wilkinson Rovers looking reasonably confident against Huddersfield, and that's still locked at 4 apiece, Cass and Wigan. But it's Warrington here who are looking to claw their way back into the game. And they've one play in this set to try and make something happen. Drinkwater, inside ball, Harrison. Offloads it, has to. Powell tries to chip it through, but an easy take by Ethan Ryan on that far side.
Yeah, Warrington fans will be having deja vu, won't they? Another end of set.
John. All over again.
Another end of set that just wasn't up to much, was it?
What have you made of Hankinson's performance tonight? Briley missing, you know.
Yeah, solid.
He's not a full-back, is he?
No, he's not. But he's an athlete and he's a rugby player. You know, the modern-day athlete, you know, can play in a number of different positions. As I said before, they do lose a little bit in terms of creativity. Briley, well known, he based his game in the early part of his career around speed, but he's developed a really good short kicking game from the full-back position.
Shorts with a one-handed pick-up and a gallop. Yeah, bouncing around on his head as he galloped forward. Partington, Sneed, just lining himself for a kick. And that does get spin. That does get spin and a swirl. So well done to Duffy for catching that, because he had to assess that constantly as it was coming down.
And in contrast to a lot of his first half kicks, Sneed's almost hit that too well, too perfect a spiral.
There's Ty. Just loses a bit of depth with a spiral, doesn't it? And that's given Warrington a bit of an edge in terms of getting back. Wrench.
2 good carries. First from Ty.
Another set of 6. Restart of the tackle count by the referee, Max Wood. There you go. Just wouldn't let go. Curry. Harrison. Looking around to see if he's got anyone with him. Has he got the arm loose? He's I was going to say good young player. He's in mid-late 20s now, is James, isn't he, James Harrison? A late developer in Super League. Drinkwater.
Salford do that really well, cutting off the pass option. Sneed, Laffey, McDonald on the other edge.
Powell comes right, where Ratchford is waiting to try and make something happen here, Stefan. But 5 away. Powell again. Wood's being drawn towards him, but Drinkwater on the back of that foil pumps it out to Harrison, who again was trying to get that arm free to get it away. Couldn't quite do so, but very nearly. Here's Powell. Dufty slides it into the in-goal area. The chase is on. And in the end, it's Salford who clear it away. Ethan Ryan just pushing that arm out to concede the dropout, but nothing more.
No, but much better set from Warrington. And it started, didn't it, with just Warrington players rolling the sleeves up and good carry. Started with Roderick Ty, then Connor Wrench, James Harrison through the middle, and finished with a cute little kick from Matt Dufty, which earns his side a repeat set. Ethan Ryan had to be on his guard. Dufty from the full-back position.
Well, you can feel it, can't you? There is a sense of renewed belief around this stadium that perhaps there is a way back.
Like they've woken up, but Mark Sneed, I tell you what, he's been professional there. He's used every single one of the 30 seconds available to restart.
Oh, there's a dropout. Really nearly getting it out of play, but it's caught safely by Ashton, who brings it back, and another of Warrington attack on the back of this as a result. Young Max Wood blasting it forward. The 19-year-old prop forward. We've got a bit of blood here, I think. Yeah, clearly see that. So Sam Stone gets a bit of attention. Clear that up, like a boxer. Going back into the bout. Won't need to go off. Cutsman's done his job by the looks of it. Yeah, but we'll just make sure.
Just a little nick above the left eye of Sam Stone. That won't inconvenience him. They'll get the strapping on and away he'll go.
So a delay. Is the coach happier with what he's seeing at the moment?
It's been an improved first 40 minutes of the second half, but look, I don't think they've troubled Salford with the amount of possession they've had and in the right area of the field, which they've earned. They've not really shown any teeth when it's come to scoring opportunities.
But as somebody once sang in a very different context, it only takes a minute, John, and suddenly the complexion of things look a bit different. Question is, can Warrington get themselves over the line? Here's Harrison with the push and the drive with the legs. Powell is waiting, again looking around, seeing what the best option is. It's going to be Curry, who pumps it back to Drinkwater. Good read by Atkin.
Again, it's that defence, that pressure defence from the outside that's shutting Warrington down.
Curry back to Ratchford, chips it over the top. Ty's waiting, Ty collects, Ty for the corner, and has he got it down, or has Dion Cross done a phenomenal job in denying him the try? We'll find out in a moment. What does he think on the field? Oh, he thinks try, so let's hear from the video referee.
Tackle 4, live decision of a try. We're initially going to check the onside, offside, so pausing it on the boot. The winger is off screen, so we'll just roll it from this point. He's been cleared as onside live. Roll it now through to the potential grounding. So close up on the ball and slow. Yep. He's in possession, short of the line at this point. Keep rolling it through. Still appears to be in possession, but the ball is up. Do we have any other angles, please, just to determine whether he maintains possession with the grounding? Okay, if we can just... Let's just see if this helps us. Yeah, roll it through from this point. So he's in possession at this point. He's still moving forward. He's sliding in the tackle. The ball's up. The ball is down, however, we need to determine whether he maintains possession. Camera 7, perhaps. So does he maintain possession when the ball hits the ground? Are there any other angles, please? Okay, this might help us. Yep, if we can just take it back a few more frames, please. So does he maintain possession with his grounding? So do we have any other angles from the alternate side, please? Just want to view all available angles here. Okay, roll it through from this point and slow. Okay, we've established at this point the ball is up. It's within his grasp. It's now at this stage whether he maintains possession with the grounding. And we do lose sight of the hand and the ball. Do we have any other angles, please, from the other side? Okay. Just viewing all available angles. Okay. So, playing it through from here. So we've established at this point the ball is up. It is still up within his grasp. Keep rolling it through. Okay, it's now whether he maintains possession with his grounding. Slow, frame by frame, frame by frame. Okay, if we can just take that back, looking to determine whether the hand and fingers remain on the ball with this grounding. So frame by frame here. Okay, so we need sufficient evidence to overturn the live decision. Match director, do we have any other angles, please, at this point to determine whether the hand and fingers stay on the ball? Okay. So we need to see all available angles. Do we have any other angles, match director? Okay. Okay. Yep. Yep. Playing it again. Slow at this point. Frame by frame. Frame by frame. Okay, this is insufficient evidence as well. If we can just finish off on camera 6, please. Just taking it through this process. Okay, rolling it back. So we have a live decision of a try. He's in possession. Keep rolling it through. He's in possession at this point. The ball is up. We lose sight of the ball. Pausing it there. There is sufficient evidence to overturn. My decision.
Well, there's no such thing as perfection in terms of making judgments like this, because that's an impossible task for referee and video referee. It has to be gut feeling, and the gut feeling is try. And here we go. Well, there you hear the reaction from the Warrington fans. Roderick played the season, but it's his first in Salford. A big moment for the Papua New Guinean, but a big moment for Warrington potentially.
Yeah, and it is. It's to go, isn't it? But I think it's the reward for a little bit more creative. And it came from the boot of Steph Ratchford, didn't it? Who spotted Roderick Tai holding his chalk on the right edge. We talked about kickers early on, didn't we? Sharp shooters. Mark Sneed up around 92%. Steph Ratchford for 2024 over 86%. This is a tough one for him, though.
What do we reckon? What do we reckon?
Well, our kick predictor says 60%, low probability. Anything below 69%, the colour red, they're backing against him here.
But we've seen him so many times down the years, producing kicks that are successful, but the predictor gets it right in terms of it wasn't certain. But it remains at 4 points for Warrington, 19 for Salford, on the back of this job.
Yeah, and you can see why they took so many looks, didn't you? Because they did look to be a little bit of a bobble there at the last moment. But this is where the referee's call is so significant. I tell you what, Dion Cross did a great job, didn't he, in making making that decision so difficult for the video referee. He scrambled defence to get back and get hold of Roderick Tai was first class.
And you probably suggest that your opinion on that would be swayed as to whether you're wearing blue or red tonight.
Yeah.
I thought on the balance of probability that was a try, but it had to be only the balance of probability, wasn't it?
And that's exactly the point. You know, the video referee has to find sufficient evidence to overturn the live call. There wasn't any. Tries awarded.
Does that reignite this challenge? Still, what, 23.5 minutes to play. If one becomes two, then who knows? Powell, Dufty, getting himself involved again, but Warrington running out of tackles, but still inside their own half. So again, Drinkwater just has to kick it downfield, hope perhaps for a mistake. And second best is that his team get up there and chase. But Salford starting with a bit of daylight between themselves and their own goal line. Hankinson. Warrington need it back. Salford just need to settle things a little bit. Singleton. Brad Singleton, the Cumbrian, with a push. He's been carried a little further as well. Sharks is in at dummy half. Sneeds to his left. But he's going to go right instead. Atkins involved, and they've spilled possession, and Warrington now have the chance to pounce, and Ashton has got all the pace in the world, and boy is he a finisher. And doesn't that turn the volume up here? Because suddenly there is hope, and maybe there's even expectation. But Matty Ashton with a try, and Warrington are back in the fight.
Oh, was so good to watch. What a brilliant individual effort from Matty Ashton. Not an awful lot on, and there was space, yes, but there were covering defenders. There's a beautiful hitch kick in here, which undoes the Salford cover defence. Watkins not expecting it. Brave from Toby King. The step out was good, but that little hitch kick and change of direction undoes the Salford cover tackle. And then in the clear, Matty Ashton, there's not many in Super League with pace that'll match him. Atkins just overplays to Watkins. That's nice. This is better. Little hitch kick, away you go. 2 tries in 3 minutes. And the Warrington Wolves faithful believe.
You still need a bit of faith to believe that they're going to get back here, because it is still, you know, very much advantage Salford, but 1 has become 2. Now if 2 becomes 3, Josh Drinkwater's taking over the kicking. Salford are blessed with a few decent kickers. He's only landed 1 goal so far this season, Josh Drinkwater, but not a lot of appearances. And he's got a couple of decent goal kickers ahead of him, of course. Thewley's not playing tonight. Drinkwater settles. This is a big moment. Suddenly reduces the scoreline to only single figures if he puts it over, but he hasn't. So 8 points to 19.
Well, he a look of surprise there. I think he felt that one had squeezed in. It went over the top of the uprights. Was curling back in. I tell you what. Yeah. There's no wonder his eyes widened like dinner plates there. Both touch judges did wave it away, and they're going to have to go up in 4s, it seems.
Well, I look forward to this match being decided with a 2-point outcome, because then we really will have a debate. But as it stands, that might not really matter, but who knows? Warrington back in possession, and with a bit of a bounce in their step here as well now. This is a good carry from Wood.
He's good. He's been really good this year, and the limited opportunities he's had.
It's a kid who came here from Wigan Academy. Wigan Academy released him and picked up by Warrington. I really fancy him. Powell. 2 to go. Walker's gone from inside the 40, and he's kicked to 40-20. And again, the tide just appears to be turning. The referee's going to make sure of this. Yeah, he's tried it a couple of times. He knew what he was doing here.
Yeah, this was right on the line. It's just where the foot lands. We're going to need another look at that, I think, Dave.
Well, Does the line belong to the kicker? If the line belongs to the kicker, I'm not sure on this, but if the line belongs to the kicker, he's clearly inside.
We're going to get our answer. And the answer is no.
No.
We've learned something this evening.
We have. So Salford get it back. But that was, I mean, game of inches and all that. You know, that was a couple of inches difference, and suddenly Warrington are attacking again. But Salford now just need to show a bit of robustness, don't they?
Well, they need to get to an end of a set. Their first half completion was 95%. That's dropped below 90 as they've come up with a couple of errors in the last couple of possessions. But that's a good carry from Nene McDonald. That's a good response.
Pick up by Hankinson, and off he goes. Taken forward again by Partington. Penalty for Salford. Suddenly the tide starts going the other way, just a little. I have to say, by the way, that throughout this game, the Salford fans have been fantastic. They're making a great noise. Now they've got reason to cheer again.
Yeah, it's an offside call. Ultimately, as undone. I mean, he could have picked from 2 or 3 Warrington players there who've not quite got back the 10.
So the tap and go. Here comes Lafay. Wigan into the lead, sneaking ahead there. Wembley winners last week, maybe winners at the old-fashioned Weldon Road, as we used to call it, this week. Shorrock's in, back to Sneed, offers it up, and it's just going to be another muscular effort again, and the offload is fantastic, and Shorrock's is here on the back of it, and as a result of that wonderful piece of work by Partington, Salford find themselves knocking on a familiar door. Sneed with a chip over the top, cross with a dive, absolutely fantastic. Wow, Sneed with a measured kick, measured to absolute perfection, and the Superman dive from Dion Cross has put Salford right back in control.
That's brilliant vision from Mark Sneed. I'll take a look at the finish as well from Dion Cross. I don't know whether you're clapping yourself there, Mark, or clapping the end, the last action, the try-scoring action by Dion Cross. His second of the evening. We'll take a look at this. It's just millimetre perfect, and it took an extended dive from Dion Cross, but that's first-class vision and execution from Mark Sneed. His try assist this season, 14 try assists coming into tonight's game. And that is beautiful. That is a thing of beauty to watch. So good. How good is that?
Well, we talk about Mark Sneed as topping the Man of Steel list. It's his left boot, isn't it? That's Mark Sneed's left boot that tops that Man of Steel list.
I'll tell you, it's the top 6 inches as well. You know, what's going on between his ears, how quickly he sums up an opposition, where they're standing, how he could possibly reach his wingman, where he can feed in a lead line runner, how he can hit a fullback out the back, his processing power between those ears, all those years of experience. That was top draw thinking, top draw execution, and top draw finishing as well from Dion Cross.
So here he goes, settled, calm as you like. Not bothered about what's going on around him. He'll shut that all out, and he'll watch the clock down as far as he can. So how do they reckon he'll go here? 67%.
Yeah, it's low probability. Wrong side for a left-footed kicker, but this is a top draw kicker.
Remember this kick predictor, based on historical kicking data, AI modelling the player's previous success, where he is on the pitch, the state of the game, and Mark Sneed shuts all that kind of data out of his head and just sends that left foot the right way, acknowledges the Salford fans, and I think there's a suggestion there that they think they've won this game now.
Right, it's a crucial score, wasn't it? 15 minutes left in the game, a resurgence from the Warrington Wolves, 2 quick tries from them, and that's the perfect riposte from the Salford Red Devils.
Well, they love to knock the big clubs off their perch. this Salford side. They did it at St Helens earlier this season for the first time in, what, 40-odd years. They're doing it here against Warrington for a second time this season. They'll be licking the prospects of St Helens at home, their next game. And they are going to be within sight of top spot, firmly planted in the top 6 with over half a season played.
And remarkably consistent as well. Look, you know, player turnover has been big. They get assets stripped every year, it seems. Coming into round 14, they were sat in exactly the same position as they were sat last year, with pretty much the same points difference as well. A model of consistency, this Salford side. Another long raking kick downfield from Mark Sneed. That one goes into touch, buys his side some time.
Warrington starting for deep. How do they lift themselves here?
Kick on the first
tackle.
tackle.
There we go, that's how you lift themselves. And it just bounces away from the chasing Matty Ashton. Well, that's the kind of gamble they have to take.
Yeah, that's what scoreboard pressure does to you. You know, 15 minutes left in the game. You know, they need to score multiple times, and it very, very nearly came off for them. Ball just didn't sit up for Matty Ashton.
So Salford have it back.
And you back the Red Devils to close out this game now. When this team gets in front, they're very, very good. And again, we were talking about Mark Sneed here in closing that out.
And talk about the Salford fans as well, who remember doing a game at Lee when Lee absolutely ripped them apart. And yet the Salford fans remained in fantastic voice throughout that game. They've every reason to be in good voice here, but they travel superbly and so loudly. They are a real credit to the club. And they're enjoying a super season again under Paul Rowley in 2024. Shorrocks. Had some high old adventures in recent years, haven't they? Challenge Cup finals and grand finals and semi-finals. Sneed, here's Lathai. Running around in circles, but not enough to trick that Warrington defence. Last play again, so here he is. Here's that left foot again. Into the dazzling floodlights it goes. It's knocked backwards. Came off a Salford hands, so it's still the last play, and Atkin will just chip it, I think, looking for touch, not for the chase. It's put it out of play, bit of game management. 13 minutes to go, we'll take that.
Yeah, that's exactly what we're talking about. Game management, went in front, commanding lead. No risks need to be taken.
Reminder of what's to come. Warriors against the Storm starting tomorrow, 8:30. Just another day and another weekend of some fabulous rugby league action on Sky Sports. Domestically, Hull against Leeds, 2:30 tomorrow. Tony Smith with us for that one. Catalan Lee tomorrow, tea time. And then more NRL action with the Knights and the Panthers, and then that big game at the Stoop. That'll be really interesting on Sunday. London against St Helens, 2:55 p.m. at the Stoop, and all the other stuff that goes with our coverage as well, the verdict and the bench. Watch out for all of those. But as we watch on here tonight, there's a crimson glow to the air as the sun sets, and there's a crimson glow to this game as Salford move ever closer to a big win. Spinning kick, Hankinson deals with it safely. Claiming again there was some foul play in there, but referee again ignores the pleas. There's Ryan. 11 minutes to go, Salford eager for more. Warrington's hope of a comeback seems to have been snuffed out. Sneed again, searching down this left-hand side. Started it all off, didn't he? Back in the first half with his 5th-minute try. This is Lathai, his brother-in-arm in terms of the centre positions. Atkin dodges and weaves and offloads, and Hankinson's having a look where the next pass can go, and then as Warrington's line moves up, making that option more difficult, he tries to take it. Sneed's waiting, he wants it again, and up it goes again. Ties underneath it, he'll hear the hooves, he's caught it really well. That was a really good time.
Yeah, Roderick Ty, arms above his head, had to get off the floor for that one. But I tell you what, this has been look, and it probably does him a disservice because we've seen some great stuff from Salford, some brilliant try-scoring stuff, but the word I'd use to sum up this performance is efficient. It has been remarkably efficient, both sides of the ball.
Walker. Powell. Drink water! Oh, my word, that was nearly one of those flashbulb moments. Nenny MacDonald, but he couldn't quite keep hold.
Yeah, and it's a wry smile on his face. You know, Josh has got to play those balls now, as Toby King did from the scrum the set before. They've got to try and find some space on the outside. And Nenny MacDonald, if he's not cut his fingernails this morning, he would have had a chance of hauling that in and really killing the game off right in front of that brilliant travelling support, as you said, Dave.
Well, Salford do have a habit of conceding late, and they are the second worst in that. They've conceded 10 tries in the last 10 minutes of matches. Only Castleford have conceded more than that. You can see Leeds, Huddersfield, London. Basically, the teams down at the bottom end of the table, with the exception of Salford, are bad at conceding late, but Salford can even afford to concede a couple of tries here. And they're safe. Little bounce and a bobble made it difficult for Powell.
Hasn't that happened a few times in the last 2 or 3 weeks that we've watched Warrington? Just they're going so well, made great meters, and then the set just breaks down.
Well, here's an effort from Musgrove and an offload from Musgrove, and Powell will pick it up and looking to motor things forward again. Here's Walker, running out of tackles, running out of options, running out of time. Walker again tries to put a bit of a shock play on, but Ryan always had that covered, and back he goes and goes on the outside of defenders and travels all the way to that 30-metre line very nearly.
Yeah, and they've read that really well. I think both wingers have done a great job defensively. Look, the meat and drink is this stuff, it's the carries, but you know, some really good defensive reads as well from the three quarters, wings and centres.
It's another big carry. Atkin, Sneed. Huge statement win this, isn't it, for Salford? But they seem to be putting big statement wins together on a regular basis. Lafay. Well, that's good response of the fans. I don't know if you saw that, but there was a plastic glass that was thrown onto the field close to where the players were, and immediately all the Warrington fans booed that action. We don't want any more of that. Here's Dufty, who catches, steps inside Dudson, and past 2 or 3 more, and here he goes, Dufty, looking to set off, and he just has his trousers taken, his shorts taken by Lafay to drag him down.
Yeah, significant involvement defensively by Tim Lafay. I think if he gets through that, he's potentially into the backfield, is Matt Dufty.
Well, Lafay looks as though he's hurt there in making that tackle on Dufty. Nicholson put down. Walker waiting, searching down this side, which is down a defender because Lafay's injury. He's just jogging back into position, as you can see. Walker. Vaughan. Straightening up, trying to make a dent. And here's Walker again. Last play. Curry. Drinkwater left to Dufty. Dufty again, but again they're ready for it. You know, that kick behind, and Ethan Ryan with a sixth sense, realising that it was coming his way. He was already almost in position to take the bounce.
If it's your last play, I'm looking at your halves. Your good team set up for it. I mean, you've seen it all night from Salford. Last tackle, it goes into Sneed's hands. You're looking for Drinkwater and Ratchford there to between the two of them to come up and organise something on the last play.
Ross looking to burst. Here's Watkins. Shorrocks. Running out of tackles, but inside their own half. Looking for a big kick downfield, no doubt here. The inevitability of Sneed with the kick. Duffy's across to catch it. I think he was pointing Roderick Ty where he wanted him to run in support, but takes it in himself.
Yeah, they've not given them much of the Salford. A couple opportunities where they've been split early-ish in this second half with Roderick Ty and Matty Ashton.
Here's Curry. Walker looking for a dash. Vaughan's there. Salford defenders working efficiently again here. Walker skipping, offloads, still going somehow, still going. Nicholson out to Wrench. Wrench has got Ty. Wrench uses him as a foil, and it's Hankinson who makes the telling tackle to put him down. But one play to go, and here comes Duffy. He'll hurl himself at the line. Held up. Held up, and that is it. Well, there's a moment of history tonight, by the way, because in the game at Hulkingston Rovers, this has happened. Ryan Hall with a 247th try of his Super League career, and that draws him level with Danny Maguire, the all-time record holder. So Maguire and Hall level at 247. Josh Charnley's creeping behind them on 239. But no wonder he's getting those slaps on the back and that celebration, because that's a big moment, and it feels inevitable that he's going to break that record.
Yeah, it's a matter of time, isn't it? But so a no try here, down to the good defence of Salford. A milestone try for Ryan Hall. The next one will be celebrated a little bit more enthusiastically, I think, than we saw there as well.
In total, when he lobbed in his Challenge Cup and international career, he's now on 327.
That's phenomenal return. I tell you, Josh Charnley spent 18 months out the game,
yeah,
and he sits there in the top three. I mean, that is seriously impressive.
Charnley's on 301 total.
Yeah.
And since 1895, there's been thousands and thousands and thousands of players who played this game. Only 32 have scored more than 300 tries, and we're watching two of them at the moment in Ryan Hall and Josh Charnley. When people say it was better in the old days, tell them to shut up and have a look at the class we've got on offer these days. One play to Shorrocks in at dummy half. Dudson's waiting on his left-hand side, but he's not going to get it. It's a sixth play. It's going to be Sneed with a drop goal. Puts it well wide. Well wide.
It's almost practice from it at this point, isn't it?
He's not happy.
Look, the game's in the bag. That would have been, well, you're talking about records. I mean, that would have been drop goal number 51 of his Super League career. I mean, that's ridiculous in itself, isn't it?
King. Here's Curry. Vaughan. So Walker stands and waits. There's 100 seconds left to play into the last couple of minutes here. Warrington is looking for a little bit of a smile at the end of it. Duffy's looking to spring a surprise. Nicholson gets it on as well. Drinkwater now crabs towards that, looking for support. There's a lot of Salford defenders over there, and then he gets that from Hankinson.
Wow!
Oh! To the turf. Ratchford, Duffy, a kick to the corner. Ties in for a second. Roderick Ty with his second Super League try. Referee has a look, points the finger. So they get to double figures, but at 25 points to 12, they're well beaten.
Well, where's it been, though, for the Warrington Wolves? It's been so inconsistent, hasn't it? And Josh Drinkwater had to take his medicine for straightening up, but that's a lovely little kick from Matt Duffy. He's actually been the chief threat, hasn't he, for the Warrington Wolves, as it has been so many times this season, and a great put down by Roderick Ty. He's had a good game, actually. You know, played the majority of his rugby in the centre, certainly with the Warrington Wolves. Pushed out onto the wing and grabs a double this evening, but it'll be in vain.
And by the way, don't think that's the end of it tonight, because Ryan and the fellas will be looking back at this, but they'll also be looking back on history rewritten. Hang on, wait till the end of this game, because Super League history has been definitively rewritten tonight, and you can hear about that and see that with Brian at the end of this game. Here comes Drinkwater with the kick. Oh, that's a great kick to finish things, but it is Salford's night. No wonder the coach is grinning, because from start to finish, from the 5th minute when Nenny MacDonald went the distance to score, Salford have been in charge. But it's a worry for Warrington, a 3rd consecutive defeat, and signs tonight that weren't great. But Salford climbed to within 2 points of top spot. They have beaten Warrington tonight by 25 points to 40.
Dave, John, thank you very much. A simply sensational Salford performance in round 14 of the Betfred Super League. Paul Rowley's Red Devils, too good for the Warrington Wolves, who have now lost their last 3 games in League and Cup. Rowley's been linked all week with a move to the Leeds Rhinos. He dismissed that out of hand pre-game in his interview with Jenna Brooks. You could see Paul Rowley all over that performance, that unbelievably entertaining and effective Salford performance, Barry McDermott.
Yes, Brian, when we get a chance to analyse this game, we'll look at key figures in the Salford side and their body language, their motion, their actions, and that's because they have practiced what they've delivered on a match day.
Well, we've got a very special moment, not just here at the Halliwell Jones Stadium, but over at Sewell Group Craven Park. Your former teammate, Jamie Jones, has broken Danny Maguire's all-time Super League try-scoring record. This is Ryan Hall's 248th Super League try, his 2nd of the game, and a milestone he will never, ever forget.
Outstanding. What a servant he's been to Rugby League, to Leeds Rhinos, to all KR. He's scored so many fantastic tries in big games, and to overtake Danny Maguire is a massive achievement. Danny Maguire's most competitive guy I've ever met. It won't surprise me if he come out of retirement next week to try and catch Ryan Hall back up, but credit to Ryan, mate, works so hard, great character.
I'll tell you what Ryan Hall is. He's a lesson to everybody on how you look after your body, how you dedicate yourself to your craft, and even in his mid-30s, still a significant player in this league.
And he's got Josh Charnley breathing over his shoulder on 239. Ryan Hall, 248 Super League tries. Paul Rowley and the Red Devils celebrating a very, very significant Betfred Super League win for the Salford Red Devils. Big following came over here. Salford, they had this singing of their fans ringing in their ears for the entire game. An unbelievable first 40 minutes. They dealt with any hint of a Warrington Wolves comeback in the second 40.
But they're so entertaining, aren't they, Salford? They come up, we talk about masters of their craft. Such a diversity in talent and ability, and this guy, Paul Rowley, ensures the detail comes out within the cohesiveness of the team. And I don't know whether it's Tim Lafayette on the edge or